Team foul number 4.
Breaking news has emerged from the WNBA ecosystem within the last several hours, and it is the kind of development that is going to expand rapidly across sports media and mainstream news platforms because it involves an employment investigation at a major corporation triggered directly by the online behavior surrounding this league and this specific controversy. Message she received, which reportedly contained a racial slur along with other hostile language. Gray's posting of that message prompted the corporate response from Hilton, which released a public statement confirming the investigation and making clear that the behavior, if confirmed, would violate multiple company policies and does not reflect the organization's values. The company's statement specifically says they are taking the matter seriously and will take appropriate actions based on their review findings. Let us start with what is unambiguous.
I can't defend that. I can't stand next to it. I don't want any part of my brand connected to that. That's a woman doing what women do. This is my problem with Caitlyn Clark. She's a drama queen. She exaggerates everything. She plays the victim. And again, all of you conservatives that are out there championing Caitlyn Clark, you look like hypocrites. Because a conservative, a Christian conservative, does not believe in victimhood. And you got Caitlyn Clark out on the middle of a court in a WNBA game that they are winning, playing the victim, and then played this role to the inevitable conclusion that's laughable and embarrassing.
Traveled. Hilton Grand Vacations is a publicly traded hospitality company with thousands of employees. The fact that this company is now conducting a formal internal investigation because of an online message sent by one of its employees in connection with a WNBA controversy tells you something significant about how far outside the boundaries of sport. Sharing harassment they receive online following incidents involving Caitlyn Clark and the Indiana Fever. Chelsea Gray's situation comes after Alyssa Thomas shared reports of harassment following the widely publicized incident involving Clark. It comes in the same period during which Courtney Williams reported receiving a hateful audio message on Instagram one day after a competitive game. Multiple players across this league are now publicly documenting online harassment they say they have received in connection with competitive games, and identifiable fan community is not supported by any evidence and serves a specific narrative purpose that honest analysis cannot endorse. Caitlyn Clark herself has been explicit and unambiguous about this. She has publicly stated that harassment, hate, and threatening behavior directed at anyone connected to this league is not independent observers. Deploying online harassment stories in that specific context, while simultaneously framing those stories as evidence of the conduct of Clark's fan base, redirects public attention from the accountability questions that have been building toward a counter-narrative that positions the players who have been involved in controversial on-court incidents as primary victims of the resulting controversy. That is a specific and documented rhetorical strategy. Naming by the league's own disciplinary decisions. The incident involving Alyssa Thomas resulted in a league-issued suspension. The incident involving Lexi Hall has been reported and is on video. The footage of contact with Clark's midsection during the Las Vegas game has been analyzed and circulated widely. These are not fan interpretations or conspiratorial readings of ambiguous footage. They are documented events that the league itself has acknowledged require disciplinary response. Online harassment, by contrast, is being reported through screenshots shared on social media by the players involved. The specific accounts sending the messages have not been publicly verified. The demographic profiles of those accounts have not been established. The claim that these harassing messages represent a coordinated or characteristic expression of any identifiable fan community has not been demonstrated of what has occurred. The Chelsea Gray situation deserves honest coverage. The harassment she reported receiving is real, and its reporting requires good faith engagement with both the specific wrong that occurred and the contextual complexity of the broader moment it is entering. But honest coverage also requires naming clearly what the data shows about what has happened on basketball courts this season and who has been on the receiving end of documented, penalized, and internationally reported physical conduct. Honest coverage requires acknowledging that the attempt to deploy harassment narratives as counter-narratives to court-level accountability conversations is a specific strategy with specific purposes. And honest coverage requires maintaining the analytical distinction between what anonymous online strangers do and what can be attributed to the documented conduct, and the commissioner's persistent absence from the kind of visible and forceful leadership this moment demands will also continue to be part of the conversation, regardless of how the online harassment story develops in parallel. Both conversations are real, both deserve serious engagement, and neither one exists in isolation from the other. That is the complexity the media covering this league needs to be willing to hold, without allowing one story to consume the oxygen that honest accountability for the other requires. The investigation is underway. The broader accountability conversation is also underway, and the public watching both is paying close attention to whether the institutions involved will respond to each with the seriousness and the proportionality that the documented facts of each actually demand.